I'm Leslie.
And I'm Shelley.
And we're
Sisters in Ebert.
Welcome back for another Movie Monday. Okay, I was like, you sounded like the Santa Claus
in the arms. Very similar sounding, I must say.
Same era, too.
Titanic.
1997 classic.
A Titanic of a film, if
oh,
you
good
will.
golly. Yes. My. My
heavens. She's lengthy and she's girthy.
She's girthy. Oh no, I was like, oh no, please tell me
I adjusted too far.
3 hours and 15 minutes.
But it's good.
It's good.
The
it
whole
does
way
suck
through.
you in.
Like, this ain't a Godfather 3 hours.
No, I did want to finish it after I started it. I was like fully prepared to have to make it be a couple days. I think I did have to do it over 2 days, but
I did too.
Yeah. So, very, very good movie. 1997 classic.
Oscar award winning.
Yes, 14 Oscars they won. Yeah, including Best Picture, I believe.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Okay.
Yes.
Here we go.
So we open to old sepia footage of people waving goodbye to Titanic, pulling away to the classic soundtrack. Like, which, if you hear it, you know it. Because the whole thing sounds the same. Cuts to submarines observing Titanic wreckage at the bottom of the ocean, and Bill Paxton films wreckage and laments the sad ruin of the ship, which landed there at 2:30 a.m. on April 15th, 1912, and crewmate calls him out for being full of it.
Yeah. He does this whole voiceover and then stops the recording. He's like, you're ridiculous,
and
boss.
he's like, and he just smiles. He's like, I know, because he's just a treasure hunter. That's all he is.
He's just looking for treasure in the Titanic, just pillaging all that he can from it. He doesn't care about
I wore a shirt. I didn't have my Titanic shirt anymore. I had several back in the day.
Yes.
And I don't know where they got to.
It should be noted that Leslie was the biggest supporter of Titanic. I think she funded the entire film.
This was a bit of an awakening for me as a child.
It certainly was. Leo was supposed to marry Leslie, and it's a crime that he hasn't.
I'm one of the unfortunate millennials who started out being told that they were way too young for Leonardo DiCaprio, and now in my same lifetime have gotten to be way too old for Leonardo DiCaprio.
It's sorry to say, but yeah.
And that's what was holding me back both times. So just everybody
she was
knows.
that terrible age, right between too young and too old.
But it's the I didn't have my Titanic shirt, so I wore the natural enemy of the Titanic, the Atlantic Ocean. Here.
Good to know.
Okay, so Bill Paxton, I just call him Bill Paxton for a while because they don't say his name right off the bat.
I don't even know what it is.
Brock, I think. I write it down later. He finishes his speech for the camera and focuses on finding the treasure that's still in the ship. Shoes, glasses, chandeliers, doll heads, beds.
Very eerie.
They remain in the wreckage. Yeah, it's like a ghost house.
And this is real footage.
Yes.
James Cameron, the director, went down 12 times. He dove down. And there was one point when he came back up and he cried because he realized that he spent more time on the Titanic than the actual passengers got to.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Like, he was there more than they were.
Along with the piano they're using as a landmark. So they know, they're looking around the ship they're trying to find this treasure that is rumored to be on board.
Specific treasure.
Yeah, and so they're using different landmarks to try to know where they've been and where they need to go.
Yeah, we're at the piano now.
Because they're using robotic arms on these submarines. They were high tech at the time, and they're still pretty high tech.
Yeah.
But
it's quite a depth here. It's like 2 miles. I think Titanic's 2 miles down.
I think. So Bill Paxton, I was like, who's BP?
BP?
Bill Paxton. He admonishes the crewmate for being rough driving the camera robot. And he made it to Huckley's stateroom. So that's what they're looking for, is a specific stateroom for this.
Which, rewatching this, I was like, Huckley?
Yeah.
I had never made the connection, their name. We saw this 9 times in the theater. And then
several on VHS.
After we got the VHS, as soon as it came out. And I never knew his last name.
Yeah. I remember I was 11.
I was in 3rd grade.
Yeah. I was 11. I was in 5th grade.
You were 5th grade.
Yeah. And I was obsessed. Every weekend we would go see this movie at the theater. Every weekend.
Movies were a lot cheaper back then.
Yeah. And it was in the theater for a long time.
And we went to different theaters. Like, it would leave one theater, and we were like,
we would go to one for a while. Yeah. We went mostly to the Boyd in Bethlehem.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then there was that one out in Hellertown, I think. And that was an old theater. And the Roxy, we saw it a couple times.
The Roxy in Northampton, yeah. I remember that one. The bathroom started flooding.
That was my birthday.
Yes, it was. The bathroom started flooding right as the ship started flooding. Spoiler alert. There's flooding in this movie. Yeah, and so it was like, oh my gosh, the theater's going down.
My friend, of course, like, they're panicking.
Yes.
We're 11-year-old
Yeah, because we were screeching and having a sleepover that night, yes.
And everybody's hopped up on pixie sticks and soda.
Mom was probably like, get me out of here.
They find the safe in the Hockley stateroom. At first, I thought they said Huxley, so I wrote it wrong.
Hockley, yes.
In the Hockley stateroom, and bring it to the surface, remarking that it's payday. And they're excited.
Payday, boys! Yeah. They got the cigars out.
Yeah. Immediately, they saw the open safe with the champagne. They saw open the safe with champagne on the ship, and no diamonds were found.
Nothing's in here.
And I put Bill Paxton, Brock, in parentheses, so his name is Brock, was told that the same thing happened to Geraldo, and his career never recovered the Al Capone fault.
Well, yeah, but, like, he's reaching in there, and, like, there's documents and stuff, he's just slapping them down, like, muck and mire, like, he's like, whatever, I'm looking for this jewel.
Yeah. In his fisherman sweater. Like, I would have got, like...
it was disgusting.
I would have got, like, an undershirt to wear.
Yes, he was, like, getting gross gunk all over himself.
So, there's a drawing in the safe that is uncovered showing a woman wearing the diamond necklace that they are seeking. So, he immediately gets, like, interested in this drawing because, like, it does exist. He's after the specific diamond, we realize, and there's a picture of it.
Yes.
There's an elderly woman who sees the story of the drawing on TV and reveals to Brock on the phone that she is the woman in the picture, but knows what the necklace is called despite it not being announced. She asked him, "Have you found the heart of the ocean yet?" And he was like his ear tweaked
like,
up.
"Okay, you got my attention, Rose."
Yeah, because they didn't announce what it was called, and she asked for it by name. So the woman in the picture supposedly died on board the Titanic, so Brock's crewmate is skeptical as she'd be over 100 now. And Brock's like, 102 next week.
And the picture's dated April 14th, 1912.
Yeah.
The night of the sinking.
Yeah. Rose arrives on the ship with her granddaughter and would like to see her drawing. And Brock explains that they're looking for the heart of the ocean. And there are other items recovered from the stateroom, and they need Rose to help find the diamond. So, like, it's her possessions. Yeah, like there's like a hand mirror and a barrette.
And she looks at it, she goes, "This was mine."
Yeah,
like, It's very sweet. And like, you're looking at it like, wow.
She's looking at herself in the mirror. She's like, reflections changed a bit. Okay, so the crew asked Rose to share her experience with them as they take her down in the submarine.
Which I always found a little odd. Like, why are we taking this lady down? This seems risky.
And we're all just going to park down here and tell this huge story.
Right. Like, I'd be looking like, I think we're going to run out of oxygen soon. Yeah. We don't get back to the surface.
Yeah. Rose remembers it clearly despite it being 84 years ago and was called the Ship of Dreams as we flash back to April 1912. Rose, Cal Hockley, which is Cal Hockley, and her mother arrived to board the ship and are very wealthy. Rose was not impressed with the ship, and she said that she felt like a slave in her life.
I don't think it looks much bigger. What was the other one?
Oh, I don't know. It wasn't the Carpathia.
No, that's what picked him up then.
I don't know.
She says the name of the ship. It doesn't look much bigger. And Cal's like, "Oh, are you kidding me? You can't be blasé about this.
You can be blasé about some things, Rose, but not about Titanic." Okay. There's a poker game occurring on the dock with Fabrizio and Jack, who have nothing and are very poor, but Jack wins 2 Titanic tickets and celebrate going to America, but nearly miss boarding because it's like right at the last minute. I'm like, who's having this game in a bar? Like, they're Swedish, but come on, tell me that's not the Irish thing to do. Is like be in a pub like 5 seconds before.
Well, it's like you should have already boarded probably like an hour
right,
ago.
Because they're steerage.
Right.
The only reason Rose and Cal and her mother are able to walk right up is because they're first class and they're like hoity-toity.
Right, like all their possessions are getting taken on for them.
Yes.
They're taking a car with them.
Yes.
They're doing all this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these people like. This is...
No.
I don't know how this happened.
So the two men celebrate their luck and rush to the top deck to wave goodbye because they did get on at the last minute. And they were like, Fabrizio is obviously not American. He only speaks Italian. And they're like, well, did you go through customs? And he's like, oh, we don't have any lice. We're American.
We're Americans.
And Fabrizio's like, yeah.
Oh, okay, just get on.
Get on, yeah. Jack and Fabrizio arrive in to bunk in steerage, and the bunkmates wonder where their planned companions were because there's these two other Swedish guys.
Yeah,
They're like,
where's Sven or whatever?
Yeah, Sven. Where's Sven? Yeah. Rose and Cal are in first class as Cal mocks Rose's paintings that she bought from Picasso. Something Picasso. And Molly Brown also boards the ship, but is thought of as new money.
Good old Kathy Bates.
Yes.
She was one of the passengers that didn't get on in England. She got on.
Yeah, at a
stop. Yeah, they made 2 other stops.
Was it Ireland?
Ireland they stopped.
I think that's where Molly got on.
And a lot of people got off, actually.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they were just going from England to Ireland.
Smart.
So, like...
They said they were, they could say they wrote it.
I only know this because I was watching this, and my daughter was looking over my shoulder, and she had already read a book, like some kid's book about it, and then so she got another book, like she didn't watch the whole thing with me, she just saw some scenes. And then she got another book at the library about the Titanic and had me read to her. And now she's obsessed with
Girl
the Titanic.
after my own heart.
And she wanted to be in today's video. And I was like, you have to have seen the movie. She's like, Gamma was in that one video. I was like, because she saw Dirty Dancing. You didn't see Titanic. You just know a lot about the Titanic.
Aw, bless her heart. The ship is brought to full speed once in open ocean as Jack and Fabrizio are at the very front of the ship. Jack has his famous "I'm the king of the world" line, which that was ad-libbed.
Yes, yeah.
Leo came up with that, and then James Cameron stole it for his Oscar speech. James Cameron. Rich people celebrate with designer Mr. Andrews about the largest moving object made by man and it being stable and unsinkable. And Rose is admonished for smoking and is very outspoken and rude with the other rich people.
Mm-hmm. She's clearly rebelling as much as she can.
She's 17 and supposedly.
She looks pretty old for something.
This is the smoking.
Aging
smoking. Jack sees Rose and is told to forget about her. Rose is frustrated. Because like she's just like looking off in the distance. She's one of the many times Rose stops. This movie should just be called Rose is Insufferable. That's my title for this. After rewatching it as an adult,
she is.
I was a bit starstruck by Leo as a child, but now I am watching as an adult, and I'm like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's
Rose is insufferable.
Yeah, she's rough. She's a rough character.
Yeah, and it's no Irishman made this ship. Big Irish hands.
15,000 Irishmen built this ship. I sound Indian.
Yeah, you did.
I can't do an Irish
That's
accent.
Tommy. I like Tommy.
Tommy, he's our good Irish friend.
Our good
from
Irish
steerage
buddy.
Here.
Yeah. So Rose is frustrated about being told what to do in life and the predictability of it. She runs that night to the back of the ship. I put the stern. I looked it up. What is the back of the ship? Because I can never know.
The stern.
Yeah. And contemplates jumping. Jack sees her and tries to intervene and talks about how cold the water is. Foreshadowing. Jack explains that he fell in thin ice as a child and how terrible it would be if she jumped, as he says that he'll have to jump in after her because he's involved and responsible. Bye, Felicia. No.
Yeah. I'm involved now.
Jack tries to help Rose back onto the ship, but she slips on her dress and screams, and he helps her pull herself up, and they fall, but the crew of the ship assume Jack was trying to assault Rose.
Yeah, she's all worked up. She's like hyperventilating.
Right, because she was already crying and huffing and puffing. Yeah. And then she slipped and fell, which scared her.
And he fell on top of her. Yes.
And he had removed his shoes.
But she doesn't do a good job of being like, no, it's not what it looks like.
Yeah. No, because she's Rose. She's insufferable and just lets
She could have easily said, like, no, I fell. Yeah,
I fell. He was helping me. I was trying to look up. And
she just casually mentions it at some point, and everybody's like...
I think they didn't want to get into it why his shoes were off, because like then she'd have to say, I was going to jump. But...
Yeah, she's trying not to get found out that she was going to jump off.
But Rose is insufferable.
Yes.
Exhibit C. Cal tries to tip Jack $20, and Rose scoffs at the small amount. Rose defends Jack to Cal and all is dismissed. Cal invites Jack to dinner the next night to help appease Rose. Rose is unpleased. What to do? Billy
Billy Zane is fantastic.
He is. Justice for Billy Zane.
He plays this part so
perfectly.
well.
Perfectly.
Did he hate an Oscar?
No.
He deserved one.
But you hate him in this movie, and he did.
He played it so well.
Perfectly. The Master of Arms is suspicious of Jack as his boots and jacket were off and are not lining up with the story Rose told about the events. Which, this is the golden age of freaking crimes. Like, you're telling me he was that aware? Like,
also, if he was gonna do that to Rose, why did he take his shoes off?
Right!
I don't think the shoes needed to be
off.
I don't think he was going to take off
the jacket needed to be off, to be honest.
Maybe it was hindering his arm movements. I don't know. But the shoes?
Yeah, I know.
You just need a zipper.
Yes, exactly.
Was this before zippers? I don't remember. What movie was that?
That was The Godfather 2.
Oh, yeah. What year was that? That was the early 1990s, wasn't it?
1900 something.
So maybe zippers weren't invented.
When were zippers invented?
He just had a few buttons then.
And he was still poor, so even if zippers were invented,
I bet
he
had
probably just had
buttons.
Stupid poor button boy. Okay. Cal comes to Rose that night and gives her a 56-carat Heart of the Ocean necklace. Yes.
Which Leslie used to have one.
I did.
You had like...
Fashion Bug sold it. $20.
$20 a Fashion Bug. It wasn't quite as large.
I had to wait for my birthday money to go get it. Mom would not let me.
That's what you got. Yes, I remember that. And I remember like asking, like, can I try it on? And you were like, once. And you let me put it on for about 30 seconds.
It might still be at Mom's house.
We must
find it. Unless she got rid of it.
No, she doesn't get rid of it.
She gets rid of my things.
Too many, that's why.
It was worn by Louis the 16th, and but Brock said earlier it was Louis the 14th.
Oh.
So I'm wondering though if this is one of those things where like Cal was told something about it when he bought it, and it was poor bad information, and then they did research on it later on. And
I could see that
because you know how things kind of evolve in history sometimes.
Yeah, we're like. Yeah, they could, like, Brock's era could trace it, whereas Billy's just getting it word of mouth.
Yep. So I was wondering about that, or if it was just a mistake.
Yeah. They're going to play it off. Yeah. Like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah. Jack and Rose walk the deck the next day, and Rose thanks Jack for what he did and for lying.
Which I also found this part weird. Is like, oh, you're such a prisoner, but you can just go and hang out with this steerage boy.
The gutter rat.
But I found out that she would have had to invite him because third-class passengers weren't allowed to walk on the upper deck.
And she did invite him.
So she had to go to steerage and find him.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, how else would he have known? Because she didn't want anybody else to know. How did he get up there
when she was jumping?
I don't know. They didn't know.
Are they allowed up after 10 o'clock?
Maybe snuck up there.
Maybe. So Rose...
Maybe it wasn't a first class deck.
Maybe.
Because she was just running and jumping.
Oh my gosh!
The Titanic!
They're mad. They're mad at us questions.
I know. Oh my gosh. This book is heavy.
It is heavy.
It's not meant to be. I'll just hold it like this. Keep going.
Hold the whole time. I'm just picturing her sitting there holding it the whole time. Rose explains why she wanted to jump because of an arranged marriage to Cal. Jack asks if Rose loves Cal, and she refuses to answer.
What an absurd question. But you can't just say, yeah, I do.
Yeah, I know, right? Rose changes the subject to bring attention to Jack's artwork, and Rose is impressed. But, like, it's so... That whole scene bothered me watching it as a grown-up. Because I'm like...
She's trying to be in control of everything.
And she's acting like a child. Like...
Well, she's 17.
She is, but, I mean, come now.
Daddy, I love him.
I know. Molly Brown is not fitting in because she's new money.
Still better than Rose, though, it seems.
Yeah. Mr. Ismay, Bruce Ismay, is pushing Captain Smith to go faster to let everyone marvel at Titanic speed. And E.J. Smith worries, but it's his last voyage, so he could retire with a bang. E.J., which they did him dirty in this. That was not what Bruce Ismay said. I actually watched a thing recently about that, and he has said, like, he did not advise going faster.
Oh, no, that's not true at all. He definitely did. No. I read about it, too. And he was the one that suggested because they were going to go much longer than the other ships. So they had to have something.
He said that if they if the rest of the men wanted to try to arrive Tuesday night instead of Wednesday, that was fine, but he wasn't going to say they needed to do that.
I don't know. I don't think that's true. From everything I've read
he differently.
Did say it because he was the owner of the White Star Line, and they were trying to beat the other company.
Yeah.
Not their sister ship. A rival company. I forget the name. It started with a C.
Carpathia?
But, no, that was the ship. But like, that's Carpathia's company. Whoever owned Carpathia. Or whatever, however you say it.
Carpathia, whatever.
But so they were trying to beat that, and because they weren't going to be able to beat the length of the voyage, they had to do like speed.
Okay, but he wasn't putting pressure on the captain like they made it seem in this.
I don't know. I think he did a little more than you're letting on.
I disagree.
Because Smith knew he shouldn't, but he was like, all right, I'll do it.
Jack and Rose talk about traveling, and Jack teaches Rose to spit as her mother arrives and despises him. Women leave to go dress for dinner, and Molly Brown lets Jack borrow her son's suit to help him fit in, because she's like, what are you planning to wear?
Very convenient that she was bringing all these things to America with her.
Jack wanders into the dining room and at the great staircase for dinner and imitates the first-class males. Rose catches him, and he kisses her hand. Cal is shocked that Jack could nearly pass for a gentleman. Yeah, he didn't even realize it was him when he walked out. I'm like,
I think he did.
Doesn't take a lot to fool you, Cal. Rose spreads ship gossip about various richers and are knocked up underage wives to Jack.
Yep, the richest man
John
on the
Jacob
ship.
Astor. And his little wife Madeline there. She's in a very delicate condition. See how she's trying to hide it? Quite the scandal.
Because they were on their honeymoon is what they were returning from.
Oh!
Yes.
And she was a good 5 months pregnant at that time. Yeah.
Which is, this is a true story. These are real people.
Real people, right.
And he did not survive.
No, he did not. But he didn't try to
worm his way on.
Yeah, exactly. Like
he followed what you were supposed to do. The women and children only.
Yep. Molly Brown joins them, and John Jacob Astor looks like knockoff Tom Selleck. I says in this one.
A little bit.
Rose's mom blows Jack's cover of being third class. She is insufferable too. Like mother, like daughter. Jack explains how he lives a transient lifestyle, and Cal remarks that a real man makes his own luck. But I'm listening to Jack talk about this too, and I'm like, sir, get it together. I mean,
I was just loud because in The Office, Dwight says a real man makes his own luck. Billy Zane, Titanic.
Yeah, that's right. What was the episode? I don't remember.
It was something similar though, where he was
what's Andy? Was it when he was when against Andy in the office?
It could be.
When
they were competing.
Yeah, when they were competing. A real man makes his own luck. Billy Zane, Titanic. Rose is intrigued with a bad boy hobo lifestyle.
I mean, who isn't?
As dinner ends, Jack gives Molly back a pen and later slips Rose a note to make it count and meet him at the clock. So suggestive.
She's like, heck yeah.
Yeah. Once at the clock, Jack asks Rose if she wants to go to a real party with the Poors.
Love this part. The Poors below deck.
All are dancing in steerage where Jack ditches Cora for Rose as Cora plots Rose's death with her eyes.
Cora.
Yeah. Did you see a death stare she gave her? Rose impresses the others by standing on her tiptoes for some reason, and Cal's henchman comes to spy on Rose. I'm like, why does that impress anybody? It's a neat party trick, but they're all like, oh my gosh,
dumbfounded.
This girl is just the
Look
coolest.
What she can do.
Yeah.
Hold this, Jack. Hold it up.
Yep. Next morning at breakfast, Cal confronts Rose on not coming to him the previous night and throws the breakfast table over. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
He was mad he didn't get any.
When I read that Kate Winslet didn't know he was going to flip the table.
So she was really surprised.
Yeah. Oh no, that's how they wanted to do it. They wanted it so she didn't know, and they got a real reaction.
I like it.
But Billy Zane didn't want to because he was worried it would put people in danger. That he was going to hurt somebody by doing it. So they planned it then.
Okay.
But so it was originally thought, we'll just do it and see what she does. And then he was like, no, we can't.
Rose's mom comes to forbid her from seeing Jack again and reminds...
Laces her up.
reminds Rose that they have no more money due to father's debts and they need the Hockley marriage to go through because all we have left is, he left us with a bunch of bad debt hidden behind a good name. That name is the only card we have left to play.
She's playing it.
Do you want to go see me work as a seamstress?
A seamstress. Do you want to see that? She's like, yeah, you could make me a new frock here.
A new frock. Rose is in the church later singing an ominous hymn about peril on the sea as Jack comes to see Rose but is shut down by the henchman again.
Rose's beautiful dress.
Yeah, I like that one.
Velvety.
Captain Smith receives another ice. As a child of the 90s, though, I remember even watching this for the first time and thinking that dress looked like Felicity's dress from the American Girl catalog. Her formal Christmas dress.
I always wanted
Felicity.
Me too. Hers was red though, wasn't it?
No, blue.
Was it?
It was blue. Yeah, it was like a royal blue, just like Rose's. That's why I said it looked just like it. That's why I said it. If it was red, it wouldn't look just like it.
I'm picturing that.
You're thinking of her regular dress, I think.
No, her regular one was white with flowers.
White with red flowers, yeah.
No, I'm picturing like red.
Oh, no, you're wrong.
I'm picturing Belle from Beauty and the Beast.
Enchanted Christmas. That is more likely. I can see how you get them confused. Captain Smith receives another ice warning but tells Rose not to worry. Quite normal for this time of year, and they're actually speeding up. He's ordered the last boilers to be lit.
Mistake.
Rose talks to the ship designer about lifeboats as she feels the math ain't adding up. And Mr. Andrews confirms that only enough for about half of the passengers on the ship, and that he tried to get more but was overruled as it would clutter the decks.
What I learned, though, actually, is that this was very common to only have this many because they weren't supposed to be lifeboats. They were supposed to be like a rescue ship comes and they take you to that ship. So it's supposed to be just a quick back and forth, like not everybody needs to be on all at once.
Oh, that's not a great plan.
Yes. So the Titanic disaster is actually what changed all the regulations of
maritime
ships. Yes. So that's
history.
why now every ship has to have enough for everybody.
Well, yeah, because especially back then, these are like coal burning ships. So like, what are you gonna do? Like, if there's no other ship nearby, like.
But so what they always planned was that there always would be because it was so common to have ship traffic was the big yeah, that's what it was. Like this was the way to travel then. Okay. So that's they always figured you'll have somebody nearby that can come to help you.
So Jack finds Rose, who tells him that they can no longer see each other, and Jack warns her a part of her will die if she stays with Cal, but only she can save herself. Okay. Rose goes back. They're both kind of a little. I'm like, Jack,
you just mad,
right? Like, why do you? All right, I know you're trying to get with that,
but it's a bit much. Yeah,
come on.
He doesn't seem like he's just trying to hook up with her either.
No,
like,
he seems like this is like his entire life. Yeah.
How many other women has he sweet talked over the years like this?
Okay. Rose goes back, but sees another nitpicking mother with a young daughter and changes her mind and goes to Jack. Yes, mothers are awful preparing their daughters for the world.
She's making her sit up.
Yep. And put her napkin in her lap. And I'm like, yes, aren't these mothers terrible?
Poor posture is what we want.
Preparing their children for what their role in life should be.
Exactly. That's what it was then. Fit in
and
with
society. Why do you want to go freaking break your back working and scraping and... It ain't all it's cracked up to be, sister. Okay, so we find Jack at the front of the ship, and Jack gives her the illusion of flight, followed by a kiss. I'm flying. We cut,
lovely moment.
Yes, and their first kiss.
Their first smoochie.
So we cut back to the ship in 1997, as Rose says that was the last time Titanic saw daylight. I was like, oh,
so sad.
All marvel that Captain Smith had a warning of ice and still called for more speed. The ship was too big with too small a rudder and it couldn't turn in time. We're back in 1912. Jack is brought by Rose to her room and she shows him the diamond and wants the portrait of her wearing just the diamond. And flustered Jack obliges and Rose tells everyone of her eroticism.
It was the most erotic moment of my life. Up until then, at least.
But... was it? Because Cal had hoped she'd come to him the night before. I didn't pick up on that as a kid.
Yeah, I didn't either. But I don't think he was exactly schmoozing.
That's true. Wham, bam, thank you, man.
Yes, I think he was
Get back to your stateroom, Rose.
He was just calling the shots.
Rose is writing a note after, and Jack puts the diamond in the safe. Captain Smith again warned that the calm ocean will make icebergs harder to see, but continues on. He's just like, And he goes to bed. I'm going to bed.
Good night. I'm going to my stateroom. Good luck.
Rose and Jack are chased by henchmen and wind up in the boiler room and are finally where the large luggage is kept below decks.
It was cool to see the boiler room and just like, because they're running through and it's like slow motion.
Yeah.
And they're like, you can't be down here.
Yeah. Oh, her stupid dress is going to catch on fire.
No, because it's been so hot down there too. Oh my gosh. I could feel the heat watching
too.
the scene.
Rose and Jack get into a car, and Rose kisses Jack's dirty fingers and wants his hands on her.
They are gross.
Wants his hands on her and the rest.
Listen, in steerage, they were not washing their hands too well. I'll tell you that. Do you know that all steerage had to share 2 bathrooms?
That was pre-hand sanitizer, too. I cannot.
Yeah. Disgusting.
That's gross. Okay. There's 2 men in the lookout out with binoculars. Cal discovers
that was a real story. They lost their binoculars. They were misplaced.
Yeah. Cal discovers the drawing in the safe with a note from Rose about keeping her locked up with the diamond. Now you can keep both of us locked up. Like,
she's such a jerk.
Rose is insufferable.
It's like,
Exhibit
okay,
D.
there are several days left on this journey. What is going to happen in these next several days? Like, you have to face this.
Right. Get it together, Rose. Yeah. Rose and Jack evade people looking for them, and now on the deck, as Rose explains, she will get off with Jack when the ship lands.
Docks.
I put docks. I thought it said locks, so I didn't say it. I was like,
when it locks in.
When it docks. Yeah, it was just a very poor D.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
The iceberg is spotted after the crow's nest peeping toms take their gaze off of Jack and Rose and is called in. But the ship is taking too long to turn and strikes the bird, which this is the information I received. For it being so big with too small a rudder and only like not being able to turn in time, they did a heck of a job turning though, with the damage that was done compared to what it could have been, because like they turned, it was like a 30-second or turnaround before they got think about how hard that must have been to turn that ship. Yeah. They reported it pretty quick. It was just not quick enough. Enough.
Everybody was moving quick, and from what I've read, I'm sure you've read this too. If they would have just hit it head on, it probably would have been fine.
Yeah, I've read that too.
It's the way they hit it.
It went, like they said, beep, 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 like Morse code down the side. It punctured so many parts
What
of the
happened
ship.
actually was, it's not that it tore a hole, it's that it was popping what are the things called that connect it? Not nails. It's not nails.
I know what you mean.
Rivets. It was popping out rivets, and that's what allowed water to come in.
Okay.
So that's what wasn't strong enough from how it hit. So if only they had just. And you wonder if Smith had been standing there, would he have? I'm sure he would have told them to turn too.
I'm sure he would have told them to turn.
They would have all tried to turn. So I don't think that would have changed the outcome.
Because if they had hit it head on, they could have just closed that door.
Yes, it wouldn't have come in all those compartments.
Right. Okay. So Jack and Rose see the iceberg as the narcs looking for them are the first to go. The narcs looking for them are the first to go.
Yes, because it gets flooded immediately where all the cargo was. Yeah.
Many are trapped in. Who's the narc? Many are trapped in by the coal ovens as the watertight doors close.
Yes.
That's your job. And you have to die on your job. Oh, get out of here.
I know.
Get out of here.
So many crew members died.
Yeah.
It's so sad to think about.
Third-class passengers are the first to be aware of the danger with the flooding and follow the rats looking for safety.
Yeah. And they show it in the movie, they wake up and there's water in their room.
Yeah, whoa, what's going on?
They feel it, they feel the shudder, and there's water pouring into their room, and that's exactly how it happened.
Yeah.
It immediately started flooding.
Rose and Jack hear how bad things are and go to warn Cal and her mother, but once back, the henchman slips the diamond into Jack's pocket as Cal claims he was robbed. Because Cal, once he saw this little note from Rose, he decides he's going to take matters into his own hands.
He went to crumple it and he was like,
yes, I will.
Thank goodness, because that's what Bill Paxton found.
That's true.
If he would have crumpled that up and tore it up,
we would have never
had this story from Rose.
Captain informed the ship will sink in an hour, 2 at most, if and with 2,200 souls on board. All are ordered to put on life belts and come to the top decks after Cal smacks Rose around a little bit. Captain Smith orders a distress call. Crew is preparing lifeboats. Everyone in the first class is oblivious to the ship's sinking. Rose asks Mr. Andrews as she saw the berg and is urged to get into the lifeboat once loading. The closest ship responding to the distress call is 4 hours away.
I did read that there was possibly a closer ship, but earlier in the night they were sending Morse code things, and like it was like back and forth, and the Titanic guys were like, "Shut up!" Like they said, like they were sending too much, and they just cut off communication. So like they turned off their system, so they could have possibly gotten it to this closer ship, but no one knows for sure where they were. It might have been for nothing, but yeah, but the Morse code people were getting saucy with each other, so they stopped communicating. Thank you to my daughter's book. Yeah. And, I forgot. I wanted to say a fun fact. So the time of hitting the iceberg, it was like 30 seconds or 37 seconds or something in the movie, and that's actually how long it was.
How they filmed it.
And then like the whole Titanic sinking scenes is, when you put them together, it's the length of the actual sinking. Like, yeah.
All of the 1912
All the 1912 scenes. Okay, sorry.
I thought that the first time I saw it too, and I'm like,
so like James Cameron planned it.
Yeah, he planned it so all of the 1912 scenes equaled the amount of time that it took for the ship to sink.
Yeah, so it was a nod to how it actually happened.
That was like what was big about this movie when it came out too, and I think it's kind of been lost to time a little bit, but James Cameron was obsessed. And like everything was like to the detail, which some things they found out to be false, like in later years, like as you know, time has gone on, more research has been done. But like at the time, this was accurate.
Very accurate movie for the time. And like I think he started doing his dives before even the movie came about. Yeah. Like he was like, I'm only doing this because of this.
The captain orders women and children to the boats first. The band is ordered by the captain to play cheery music in an attempt to avoid panic, and the first class is made the priority for loading boats. A distress flare is sent up as many are unaware of the danger, and Jack below decks is handcuffed with the henchman, guarding him initially but later leaves because...
Flood.
Yep, bye.
It's like, bye.
When Rose is disgusted by her mother at being snobby about the boats. And Rose refuses to get into the boat and goes...
To the boat, Rose.
Goes to Jack as Cal has a temper tantrum and Rose spits in his eye to get away from him.
Yeah, she hawks it back just like Jack taught her.
Yeah. Rose finds Mr. Andrews to ask where a prisoner would be taken as flooding starts, where handcuffed Jack is, and Rose is trapped below on E deck.
These are very confusing directions.
Go left, they go right,
First of all, how did he know how to do all these directions? Like he was very precise. He just whipped it out. Like
he just got done walking Jack down there. So as the elevator goes back up without her, she is trapped on E deck. Rose finds Jack, but no spare key for cuffs, so she cuts him free with an axe and realizes that he was no thief and was unsuccessful in finding help other than the fire axe, as water is now at least chin level on E deck. Mr. Andrews notices the boats are built for 65, but are only being sent with 12 to 20 people on them.
They were not fully loaded.
And this was 65 men, so he's saying like women and children, you could fit
squeeze more in there. Yeah. Like let's pack them.
We were worried they would falter.
I'm sure the crew was not properly trained in this either. Like they were probably just figuring it out too as they were going. Yeah. So
as Cal is still trying to find his way onto a boat, and steerage passengers are not allowed to go to the higher decks yet because they're making the first class priority for loading boats. Panic ensues on all decks and people threaten to shoot each other. Boats lowered onto other boats. And they're just being so dumb about everybody's panicking.
They're panicking, yeah.
The band keeps playing for warmth and for their own amusement as Tommy, Jack, Rose, and Fabricio make it to the top deck after ramming the steerage gate and marvels about having music to drown by in first class. Tommy's like, this is how I know I'm in first class. I've got music to drown by.
And like you can start to clearly see like the front, the bow is going under. Yeah. Like it's getting bad.
Cal tries to bribe his way onto a lifeboat and Mr. Ismay cowardly sneaks onto a lifeboat. Families are being separated from fathers and husbands. Rose resists getting on the lifeboat, and Cal tells her that he has arrangement with an officer on the other side of the ship where he and Jack can both get off safely. Rose boards, but Cal reveals that only he will benefit from
such an arrangement.
Right, from the arrangement, which Jack guessed.
Yeah.
He's like, there's no boat, is there?
Oh, indeed there is.
Not that you'll benefit from. Yeah. Rose changes her mind and jumps back onto the boat to go back with Jack. And Cal...
You're so stupid,
You're
Rose!
so stupid! Why are you so stupid? And Cal seethes as she ran back to Jack. Takes Lovejoy, which is the henchman, I finally got his name, Lovejoy's gun, and drives Rose and Jack further below the top decks as he chases them with a gun.
I think this problem's going to take care of itself. I think you don't have to chase them.
So once they get away and Cal is out of bullets, he realizes that the coat he put on Rose is where he put the diamond.
I put the diamond in the pocket of the coat.
I put the coat on her! Best temper tantrum ever, Billy Zane. Jack and Rose try to get back to the top decks and nearly succumb to the flooding again. They're stuck in a locked gate with a steward trying to help, but he drops the keys. Jack retrieves the keys and struggles as water rises rapidly and finally releases the lock.
Kate Winslet almost drowned here in this scene.
Oh, I heard that.
Her coat got caught and she couldn't swim back up. She had to get out of the coat to swim up. Like if she hadn't freed herself, she would have been stuck.
Okay. Cal finds a lost child, and an officer is shooting men, rushing boats, and turns the pistol on himself after throwing Cal's money back at him and shooting Tommy.
Yes. I'm very curious what was with that child. Why were they just there by themselves? Like, how did they get separated from their family?
Did something happen to mom or mom go back for somebody else and dad
said, just sit here,
wait and never made it back? That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
It almost felt so bad.
I know. Girl. And that officer, they could not confirm that actually happened.
Yeah, and like his family was kind of upset about it.
Yeah, they did not like the way that because they kind of made him look like bumbling throughout all of this and like not. And they said that no.
Murdoch was his name.
Yeah. And they said that no, that is not how he would have behaved.
And they were like, we can't confirm one way or the other how this went down. But
Cal uses the lost child to board the lifeboat, and Rose and Jack find Mr. Andrews, who is inside the ship, and gives Rose his life vest and apologizes for not building her a stronger ship.
Oh, it's a sad little part.
It is. Other passengers of all classes decide not to fight the inevitable and settle in, including Mr. Guggenheim dressed in his best. I know. With his guy just like wheeling him around, like, okay, I guess I'm here too.
Yeah. Yes.
You're in your 80s, but I'm in my 30s here. And the wasn't the Macy's?
Yes.
The guy who owned
the couple
Macy's.
that they show, the old woman and man, cuddled in bed as it's flooding.
I forget their name.
They were the owners of
Macy's. The department store.
Yeah, they owned the Macy's department stores, and they both went down the ship. She refused to get on a lifeboat
without her husband. Yeah, she said, "What would my life be without you?"
And they actually based the like you jump, I jump
off of
her because she said like I'm not going anywhere without you.
Right.
We go together.
Right. The Mr. Andrews part 2, they're saying with just him kind of being shown in like the smoking room or wherever he was.
Yeah.
That was probably a little romanticized as well.
Yeah. I'm sure.
They said that there were sightings of him and Captain Smith like jumping into the ocean later on. Like as the ship was sinking more and more, that they saw them on deck. Like,
they didn't
just drown.
Just go on. Stay inside the ship and drown. Because you have to think that wouldn't be the heroic thing for them to do either. No. They would probably be going till the end and then they go down with it.
Yeah. And although I must say, I think drowning might be better than freezing to death. I don't know.
Although you'd have the hope of being rescued.
And then you just go to sleep.
And then you go to sleep. Yeah, it's kind of... I don't think I'd want to drown.
I don't know. Either way is bad.
I have asthma. And that feeling, that like heavy chest is like... Yeah. So I don't think I want to drown.
So the band stops as the water breaches the top deck, and they wish each other luck, but one by one, play near my God to thee, as like the last guy is just like, where am I going? You know?
Like, this is how it's going to be. I think it was Mad Magazine, like when the movie came out, and they had like the guy in his cello, like sitting on it, like floating away.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Right.
Leslie had every bit of Titanic memorabilia that came out.
Well, my dad got me the Mad Magazine subscription.
Yeah, so, but that one she saved.
I did.
Especially, don't touch it, don't bend a corner. I remember that.
Captain Smith, Mr. Andrews, and the elderly couple all walk to drown. All wait to drown. An Irish mother puts her 2 children to bed and panic erupts with words. Oh my gosh, that part killed me.
The land of Tyranny.
Yeah, I know. I was
She's just telling them bedtime
stories. They fall asleep. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, can you imagine?
That part is awful.
I know. It's the worst scene of the whole movie.
I always wondered that, like, why didn't she even try? But what I read, I can't get through this. What I read was, like, a lot of third-class passengers couldn't even find their way out. Like, it was so confusing down in the corridors, and a lot of them didn't speak English and couldn't read the signs, and a lot were just trapped down there. They couldn't get out. So I could see how some would just...
give up.
Yeah, just stay.
And make sure, make sure they were comfortable, but oh my gosh, can you imagine?
No, they're not going to sleep through that.
No. Some lifeboats are going unused, and the band leader remarks, it was a privilege to play with them all that night. All remaining able-bodied passengers run to the back of the boat, which is the last to flood, and Cal at some point got on a different lifeboat after he was unsuccessful previously.
The first one, it was like capsizing.
Is that the one that was coming down
it was
on the
like,
other? Oh, yeah.
No, it was like tipping. Like they couldn't get, it was still like on deck. It wasn't over the water yet. So
Did he just like chuck that child?
Yeah, he passed her off to somebody else and jumped and did something else.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of got blurry with that part. I was writing a lot. There was too many people and things to keep track of.
There was a lot
I didn't think I was going to need to write as much as I did for this movie.
Yeah. You don't realize too how many people you've met
and
along
stories,
the way, because you see people, it's like, oh, I recognize that person, I recognize that, like, you have a lot of storylines, so you don't realize you're following.
Fabricio was crushed by a smokestack. John Jacob Astor remains on the boat. Rose and Jack try to get to the high.
Oh, that's what they think happened to Astor in real life.
Yeah,
because his remains were found and he was covered in soot, and so they think that he was crushed by one of those things.
Okay,
yeah,
that's right. I did read that. Yeah. Rose and Jack try to get to the highest point to stay on the ship as long as possible, and are at the very back part where they first met, as the pastor prays with others and the children are comforted by mothers. That part always
gets me too.
Oh, I know.
He's holding on.
There's the 23rd song.
Yeah. No, somebody else is praying that.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's later.
I want to get to that valley a little faster. There.
Yeah. He's and there'll be no more death. Yeah, exactly. Trudy is gone. Can't hang on.
Oh, Trudy.
That's Rose's maid. Yeah.
She's sliding down the deck.
The chef takes a nip of his flask, and other boats watch in horror. Do you know about that guy?
The chef survived.
Yeah, because of his drinking.
It kept his body temperature controlled enough.
And it kept it probably stimulated.
So then he was one of that was rescued. Yeah, from the water.
The power finally goes out, and the ship splits in two, but not fully separated, and the back end starts being pulled down by the other half.
Do you know if that's true? The part, because they show like a guy getting electrocuted. I don't know. I never read like what made the power go out exactly.
I think it's splitting in half. The
right, that's what I thought too. And then but they show specifically a scene of like a guy like grabbing onto something, and he gets electrocuted, and that makes the power go out.
Wouldn't after they stop? Maybe this is totally different. But after they stopped, like, all of those, like, coal ovens got washed, you know?
Yes.
Like, would that cut the power?
No,
that was different.
The power went out at 2:19.
Okay.
And the boat sank at 2:20. It was just 1 minute they were without power. Yeah, I read that in the timeline.
That's amazing. Now, did you see that at the time this is the angle that they thought the ship was, but this is not the angle that the ship was?
Yeah, it's not
like it's not a direct 45 degree. It was more like a 30-degree angle or
something like it. Yeah, I don't know exactly how it was, but it was standing up pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. So, Rose and Jack are holding on to the back of the ship, and they take a deep. He tells her to take a deep breath right before the ship goes down.
He is so calm and collected through this, and like knows what to do. Like,
to avoid being pulled with the ship.
How did he know it was going to him down?
Well, he I guess knows things. Because there is going to be like a pull,
suction,
like a suction. Yeah. And they hold hands, but are immediately separated in the pull of the ship. The ship completely is gone now, and Rose surfaces looking for Jack, and is used by another passenger as a lifesaver, who is then punched out by Jack as they find debris to cling to.
Mm-hmm.
Both cannot fit on the found door, so Jack stays in the water as countless people scream. Man whistles for lifeboats to come back to help. The boats refuse to go back for fear of being swamped.
Which, yeah, I could see that. I understand it. Like, it's horrible.
It's a crappy situation.
Yeah, you
all
can
around.
see why they were afraid to go back. Because, that's a lot of people trying to get saved.
Boats tie together and transfer others to some boats to take another boat back.
Mm-hmm.
Jack wants to write a letter to the White Star Line about all of this, and Rose loves Jack. Jack says she won't die and not to say that.
Don't you go to that. Don't say your goodbyes. Not yet.
But then they don't say them.
I know.
And
he never actually tells her he loves her.
No.
In the whole movie. He says what he loves about her.
Yeah.
But doesn't say I love you.
And he must go on, and she must go on not giving up. Rose promises she won't give up or let go of the promise, I put.
Yeah, you have to be specific. Of the promise.
Both hunker down and wait as the boat comes back, but are too late as most already are frozen to death.
Oh my gosh, that scene. It is so... It just eats at your heart. Little baby.
And that was the same woman who was like, Captain, where do I go?
Yeah.
Where do I go? Captain, what do I do? Yeah. She's trying so... Like, why didn't he tell her, get on a boat?
Get on a boat. Why didn't she know? Get on a boat. All the boats were gone at that point, though.
Were they?
Yeah, they were. But, like... She was clearly the second or steerage. Like, she didn't know exactly
he just, like, walks right by her.
He just kind of was in a stupor.
Yeah. Okay. Rose is farther away, softly singing to herself, to where the other people are.
I guess in the original version, up in the stars, you could see, like, an outline of brighter stars that kind of looks like the heart of the ocean.
Oh.
It's, like, the shape of it. And then they changed it in the remastered version. They were like, that's a little hokey. We wanted to look like it did in 1912. So they, like, redid the sky.
That is a little hokey. That's really dumb.
I never noticed it, though, and I didn't either. This time. I don't know what version I was watching.
No, I watched a streaming version, so it was
probably the updated
one. Rose sees the boat and tries to wake Jack unsuccessfully, who is fully in the water. Rose dilly-dallies with Jack and is too weak to scream. Lets Jack sink and gets into the water to go to the whistle guy. Takes the whistle from his dead lips and was saved.
Like, I think about that now, like, how cold you feel, and then you have to get into the colder water. Like, you're already very, very cold. She was wet.
Well, here's what I'm thinking, too. Like, yeah, they were trying to stay out of the water as long as they could on the boat, but they were already wet, like, soaking wet.
Yes, they were not drying in that hour and a half or whatever it took to sink.
So they were already cold before they got into the water. But yeah, Rose dilly-dallies around. Almost doesn't get saved. But she does and gets saved.
Come about! I love that guy.
Yeah, I know.
We waited too long. We'll keep checking them, then keep looking.
Oh, yeah, because that's exactly how I react. Like, son of a...
It kind of reminds me of John Mulaney.
A little.
But, like,
that's how I react to things, though, like, too. Like, I just get angry and mean about it. I'm like, well, do it! Like,
yeah. But I just love
that.
Talking about! That's my favorite line of the movie.
Quit talking about it and start doing it! Okay. 1,500 people went into the sea when it sank, and 20 boats were nearby, and only one came back. Only 6 people were saved.
That's a lie. It was 40.
Okay.
But yes, only one boat came back.
But that 40 is better than 6.
Yes.
700 were in lifeboats. In the morning, the Carpathia picked up the survivors. Cal comes to look for Rose in steerage section, but she hides from him. Cal is married later and inherited his millions, but took himself out when the stock market crashed.
But took himself out.
I had to write it that way because of YouTube's little laws.
Uh-huh.
I try to be mindful about that.
Yes.
Rose takes Jack's name when the boat reaches New York City.
Dawson.
Rose Dawson. And then the guy's like, there's no record of Jack at all. I put, duh.
No, he didn't. He won the ticket 5 minutes before they left.
Yeah. Rose explains she never told anyone of Jack, not even her husband, and a woman's heart is a deep ocean of secrets, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, but here's my whole thing, though.
And
he never told any... Like, I would tell my husband, like...
I told my husband everything!
Right, it's like, you'll never guess how I survived this.
Yeah.
I was banging
But she never...
No, you tell the person closest to you.
Mentioned that you were on this Titanic and that you're like...
He had to have known she survived the dang Titanic.
Rose is insufferable, Exhibit J.
Even as an old lady, she's insufferable.
And that Jack saved her in every way that a person can be saved. Bill Paxton finally gets the gravity of Titanic. And
I think that's a little James Cameron coming out too.
I do too. Yeah. That night, Rose's creepy old lady hair takes her to the back of the boat.
Her hair fluttering in the wind. Which, I guess it wasn't up on that whole day, but I thought she had short hair. And then they show her with this flowing hair. I was like, ooh.
Yeah. Where she looks over the side and reveals she still has the heart of the ocean from Cal's
music
coat.
that plays.
Yeah. How deep were these pockets I put? Because how many times was she in water? Give me a break. Give me a break. I said, and
the suction couldn't pull that out.
And there's no zippers on these pockets. No. Like it's not like
they weren't vetted.
Maybe there was a button. And I said, rather than be nice to Bill Paxton, who earned it at this point,
took you down to the ruins.
She throws it into the ocean. Yeah, I put spoiled Rose.
Yeah.
Rose is insufferable. Exhibit P.
Yes. There's like a alternate scene. I don't know if they actually filmed it or if it was just original script or whatever. But he was gonna see her walking.
There, it was filmed because I saw it. Yeah, and he's like, "Can I just hold it for a minute?"
Yeah, he lets her hold it.
At that point, I would be like,
"Bye, bye." Push that old lady down and go.
Oh my gosh, she's terrible. She's terrible.
But I guess that's her closure to like send it back to the ruins. I don't know.
I remember Mom telling me, well, it gives him something to look for. I think I remember.
They weren't finding that.
No.
An eel is wearing it like it fell on him. It's the fanciest eel in the whole community.
Okay, yes, he wants it for like the monetary value, but this is a piece of history. This is Louis XIV.
Well, that's the thing is like, you let him be the one to discover it and become famous, and then he's not like, it's not like he's keeping this diamond forever. No. Like it's going in a beautiful museum and everybody can enjoy it.
Yeah. Rose is insufferable.
And her granddaughter, there goes her inheritance.
Yeah. And what did Rose do with her life? She was an actress. Mm-hmm. So, like, she's not working hard time. Like,
she's doing what she wanted. Yeah. She was still a free spirit. I want to know how she survived.
Yeah, me too.
Her poor mother, too.
Yep.
Wonder if Cal took care of her.
I hope.
Probably not.
Probably not.
There's another scene to her, like, in the script, I don't know, where, like, Cal was going to find her on the Carpathia, and she was going to say, tell my mother I died. Bye. Leave me alone. Get out. So they scrap that, though.
Camera cuts to Rose in bed with the pictures of her and various life activities. All of her.
Yeah, she framed all these photos of herself. It's a little weird.
Narcissistic.
But it's all the things that she and Jack had talked about doing.
Yeah,
and
there's
that Jack told her to do.
An acting headshot, deep sea fishing, flying a plane.
Yeah, she looks like Amelia Earhart. She's like
riding a horse in the ocean, and pans to Rose asleep. I put vain AF.
Like the roller coaster in the background they had talked about.
Coney Island,
which wasn't invented yet. I was talking about.
Are you sure?
That's what they
1909.
say. They say there's a lot of things in here that it's like it makes him a time traveler.
So the next camera cuts to Titanic wreckage as it comes back to its original state. Yeah, me too.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Richers and poors all waiting together by the staircase.
Not gonna happen.
Where Jack is at the top, Rose is walking up to Jack in a white dress, who turns and takes her hand and kisses her as everyone claps. Captain Smith is the last to clap, I noticed. And he's next to the frozen lady with the baby.
Oh, God.
Yeah, they're standing. I noticed.
I didn't know.
I paused it. I took it back and looked. I'm like, come again?
I think he feels bad about that.
Yeah, and I put, heck that husband of 40 years. And only people who died aboard the ship are there, except for Rose.
Yes.
Because, like, her mom's not there.
Right.
Like,
she's
Molly
just
Brown's not there.
It's all the people that died. Yes.
Yeah.
And the time on the clock is 2:20, which is when it sank. So
okay. And
that's
I put
a detail in the back.
Cue Celine Dion. The end.
Celine Dion.
Rose is insufferable.
She is. But this is a beautiful movie.
It
it's
is.
So good.
And it's still good, but it just is infuriating.
If you think about it too much, yeah, it hurts. But, like, the way they depict this is so well done.
It is.
They did a fantastic job.
It's a masterpiece, but oh my goodness.
And, like, filming was very, very difficult for the actors.
Yeah.
Because they were in the water. And there was so much water that they couldn't warm it all. It couldn't stay warm.
And
so they were freezing in that water.
They wouldn't let them out of it.
And they wouldn't let them out of it.
So they were peeing in the water.
Yeah, so, I mean, anyway to keep warm. Well, I hope it was chlorinated.
I hope so, too.
It probably was.
It looked chlorinated in the bottom. It didn't look like seawater.
No, it didn't. Yeah.
What are some other fun facts? I'm trying to think. There's this is the movie that they all got. A lot of people got hospitalized because craft services laced a bisque or something with PCP.
Yeah, like somebody put drugs in the food.
Yeah. And Bill Paxton and a bunch of other people had to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
It's like some people were feeling really good and some people were freaking out. And
yeah, I'm very curious.
I am too.
What happened here, actually. I know Kate Winslet said she didn't love her performance in this.
No?
She looked back and she was like, I could have done better.
It's a poor character. It's not all her fault.
Yeah, but I think she did well.
I thought she did
Like,
too.
I don't think it was bad by any means.
No, I agree. I really like her as an actress. Just her character.
Her
I just want to. Yeah.
That dress when she's trying to jump off the boat and all that beadwork. Love it. Must have been heavy.
Yeah,
I think it was. I think I read that it was like super heavy.
I think you're
right. She would have sank right to the bottom. Yep. She would have been fine.
Yep.
Well, not fine. Her goal would have been met too quickly.
Oh, what was the other? I know she flashed Leonardo DiCaprio the first day they met.
Yeah, to like break the tension
about
the scene. Because that was the first scene, wasn't it? The first scene they filmed. Why? Who scheduled this?
James Cameron. Who do you think? And James Cameron, those are his hands, not Leonardo DiCaprio's hands.
He did the sketching. A little weird too.
Yeah.
That's
so creepy. It's Hollywood.
Kate Winslet was like 26 here, I think.
I thought she was only 23, but maybe
could be. And Leo was
I thought
19.
Leo was he that young?
He was pretty young.
I thought he was 22.
Maybe he was 22. Either way, it's close.
Yeah, that's young. They were young.
Fairly young, and she's a little older than he is.
Yeah.
But now they're still such good friends.
They are, and they've been at other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever see Revolutionary Road? That's a rough one. That's a rough one.
It is.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Like, there's like a whole bunch of other.
There's so many.
We kind of laced.
We threw them in, as we went.
Yeah.
But.
And of course, Molly Brown's, very famous for being. Oh, that was something I read. When the Titanic passengers arrived on the Carpathia, like they didn't have enough rooms for everybody, so like
they were just on the decks. Yeah.
And when they arrived on the shore, they sent the Carpathia passengers out first because they knew that the press would swarm the Titanic passengers.
I also I read about how like when they came in, like they knew they were coming in with everybody, and they went to the White Star Line's dock and docked there and unloaded all the lifeboats. They gave, because that was property of the White Star Line, so they gave back the 20 lifeboats or whatever first. And then went to their proper dock.
Oh,
and
that just gave me chills.
I know, like it's like, because everybody was like, "What are they doing? Why are they doing that?" And then like they're like,
it's their property.
Yeah, they had to give it back. Like,
are those lifeboats? Were any of those lifeboats preserved?
I don't know.
Yeah, like
I really want to go to the museums.
Yeah, I do too. I want to get to Tennessee in the worst way.
There's one in Missouri too, and I didn't know about the Tennessee one. She just told me about this. And they're affiliated. I didn't realize it's the same company that owns them. But I was like, Tennessee's a lot closer than Missouri. I said to my husband, because our daughter's obsessed, and I was like, I think we might need a road.
There's other things you can do in Pigeon Forge. Dollywood,
here I come.
Here we come. But yeah, I know. I was like, oh golly, like I can't even imagine. Oh, and then like some press was trying to rent boats and go out to meet the Carpathia and shout questions at passengers.
And like communication was so poor too. Like there was newspapers reporting all incorrect information.
Oh yeah, some people were being told that their people lived.
Yeah, it was like all passengers saved on a Titanic sinks, and then they pulled in and they're like, oops. So we had to retract that headline.
And I read that like the guy who was doing like the Morse code kept doing it, and then like the one guy was like telling him like, no, you can stop, like they're gonna get to dock
the message
before they're gonna get your messages. So. Because like it's true, like we think about things today, like if something happens, you find out like minutes or hours later.
Yeah, immediately.
This days.
Was weeks later before, and then they had to go back to the site of where it happened, but nobody knew exactly where it was.
They were trying to recover bodies.
Yeah, so it took them a few days to find it, and then they found where they could found some bodies.
Can you imagine stumbling upon that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so like it. Ugh,
yeah,
it was horrible.
Very morbid.
And then it took years before they found the Titanic.
Yeah,
at the bottom of the ocean.
I remember that being a really big deal when I was a little kid. Before this movie came out,
it was 1986 when they found it. So you were a baby.
I was a baby, but I remember seeing it in a museum before this.
Yeah, it was like a huge.
So it was already on my radar, and then when they made this movie, and it's like every girl my age was like,
yeah, I remember. Do you remember that book, Polar the Titanic Bear?
Yes,
I remember reading that before this movie came out. Like that was like a popular one. Too. And then it got super popular after the movie.
Everything else. It was like mania.
Yeah, it was. This is what popular. Really rocketed Leo to stardom.
Yeah, it is. It is. And he almost didn't do this one. Remember? Like it wasn't like he likes the more like quirky roles.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, like this was like a heartthrob role. Like
he
was
this is like a leading man.
A leading man, yeah, that's the word.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I know, so good.
I have so much.
Have you seen Titanic? You have to have seen Titanic.
Who hasn't seen Titanic?
Did you see Titanic?
Were you one of the OG Titanic?
Did you see it in third grade?
Tell us how you feel about Titanic. And being really
uncomfortable about certain scenes. Remember going with Grandma and Pal? We took our grandparents to the movie theater.
We took everybody to see it. Anytime we saw anybody, let's go see Titanic.
We're going anyway. You might as well come.
We're going. Come with us.
Leslie went as Rose for Halloween one year. She got a big coat from the thrift store.
I got the dress there too, and I remember somebody asking me in line, "What's the occasion?"
And you had your necklace, didn't you? Yeah.
I was in like 7th grade then. I remember.
She went a sinking Rose.
It was the easiest one.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't possibly get a dress as fancy as her on-board dresses.
Right. How are you gonna recreate this?
Yeah. And this is pre like internet being in everybody's house. So
yes.
Yeah. You go off of the old noggin there.
The book here.
The book, yes. Which I poured over.
Oh, she knew her facts.
I knew my stuff. Celine Dion on a loop.
That's a good song.
It's a good song.
They originally weren't going to have the song, and then, like, I forget, I don't think it was James Cameron. Somebody else had Celine record it and then played it for James Cameron. Yeah. And he was like, okay, we'll put it in.
Twist my arm.
Yeah, like, I think he just wanted it to be all instrumentals. Gotcha. And then they were like, no, we need a good song.
That song to tie it together.
Yeah, and it worked. The music video.
That was on loop, too. That taped it for me.
VH1 used to play it a lot.
Yes, a lot. And that was on pop-up video for a while.
Pop-up video!
But we thank you for joining us.
Yes, this I'm sure is a long one. I don't know what time we're at, but you made it.
It's a labor of love. If you look below in the description, you'll see our links to all of our social media. We are at Sisters and Ebert at Facebook and Instagram. Please come follow us on there and like our stuff. And on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, copy the URL. Like even if you don't share it, pretend you're going to share it. It'll boost us up in the algorithm. And hopefully we'll get this little train chugging for this little channel.
The ship will make it to New York.
Keep the ship afloat over here at Sisters and Ebert. Thank you so much for joining us, though, and we'll see you next week at the movies.